How's it going, everyone? Welcome. Eulier Gonzalez here. So I want to first forgive about the lights right now because I got a problem with that, but I know I'm gonna solve that hopefully in the couple next weeks, right? But in the meantime, I want to explore is the SQL standard by reading at the preface. So that's what I'm going to do in today's video as part of this particular course from the Execute program, which is taught by a software engineer that has previously worked at several companies and has shipped several products, called Gary Burnham, right? So this is a good moment to make this for ads, right? I don't have any affiliation with him, but I do find that is very interesting, his experience, and also a couple talks that he hosts. But the point of today's video and in the goal of this course is to learn to apply SQL concept when building and interacting with relational, which is in this case, with SQL servers, right? I don't care which kind of SQL flavor you use, Postgres, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, as long as you use now this language, this structural query language, well, you are going to be good. So that's what I'm going to do, right? Is the history and the forward from the spec, right? In the past video, I described what the ISO and the IEC briefly. So the IEC is a commit, or the internationally electro. Oh my God! Here we go. Is the because it is a French word, bro. Is okay. In French is the Commission Electro-tecnical International, or in other words, is the International Electro-tecnical Commission, right? So why am I start with this? Because this is a commit founded 119 years ago in June 26. Oh my God, we're about to have 120 years, right? So in 1906, and the first to hold the presidency was Lord Kelvin. So Lord Kelvin is a Scottish mathematician and physicist and engineer that he create or he was, so their temperatures is, so one way to measure temperature is based on his name, right? So this is just a little bit of history to understand that especially in the technology field or in any technical field, there is now some history that first is important to understand, so I can or you can understand where are you coming from, and from that make sense of where are the current state of affair. So you now understand all of the different terminologies, concepts, and for any of this standard that was defined by smart folks, and the other aspect that in school or universities you're not going to learn about unless you actually wants to engage actively in those. And then you started to understand how, for example, different commissions was created. What is the main, why do we have these standards, when this standard was created? And speaking of standards, right, is particularly the SQL, right? The ISO IEC 1975 dash 1. This is the 6th edition, 2023, right? So this is on the preface. So this is standard. The 1975, that's right, dash 1. Under the under the forward, like this. So this is kind of to understand where all of this comes from. So I briefly explain where the IEC stands for, where it comes from, and who was the first president, Lord Kelvin. And also you can see is that all of these things and techniques that we have developed, it comes from these medieval organizations here. So it's not just about, it is not to say words that sounds good for cocktail party, is what it is, isn't the truth. So then is the ISO, which is the Internationalization Standard Organization, founded in 1947, right? And this particular section is quite relevant in terms of describing who is going to oversee the principle of these standards here, and that is the WTO, right? So for an explanation of the voluntary nature of standards, the meaning of ACO, specific terms and expressions related to conformity assessment, as well as the information about the ISO adherence to the World Trade Organization principles. In the technical barriers to the trade, when they say adherent, it's like, well, the WTF, they are designing the principles. So it's the trade that actually move these standards, move this commit, and actually move ourselves as humans, right? And this is when you can see more about that. So if I continue to read about this, so not only that those standards, they adhere to the WTO principle, but also particularly in this standard is overseen by a technical group, pretty much like the TC39, okay, which is a commit that oversees the spec for the ECMAScript, or in other words, the JavaScript, this language that now is running on a particular agents. In our case is the browser, right? You also have different spec. So for example is the CSS here, or the W3C, right? So the W3C consortium actually now oversees, for example, in combination with the WTW, as you can see, well, working with stakeholders of the web, okay, E3, Google, Ignite, as you can see. So they now get into these web standards. So why am I? So what what I want to show here is, let me see if this. So to get myself familiar with this page, involve, become a member. No. Standard groups, explore the web standards, right? Read more about the standards, the web standard and draft groups. I do think that is part of this. Is here. Read more about the W3C standards. What are web standards? Referring to W3 spec, persisting policies, reusing a standard of, yeah, what are the word standard? Discover the type of document here. workshops. Okay, but this is workshop. Recommendations. And here's where you can, okay, what WC standards and draft. Okay, so here we can see is some of them, right? Global privacy. Well, this is huge, right? WebRTC, yada yada yada. So this is just to get ourselves familiar with this, okay? But again, it's here that they are actually maintaining this. For example, even you can see is the CSS, multicolon inline, So yeah. So again, what am I showing this? It's because when you understand who made this, the group, the commit, the origins of this, as well as the different standards that are involved. So not only in terms of the language to provide interactivity to the web, but also for defining is styling of your document. Documents like the HTML here, the living standard, right? And all the technology involved in describing this document. So for example, if I take a look at the scope here, particularly at the audience, what are the things that you need to understand in order to read this HTML document? Not only to read, to develop this kind of documents, all right? Web IDL, which is a fancy way to say, hey, what are the APIs that browsers support? Okay, and here you can have all of the different things that it supports. It also supports now JavaScript bindings, right? And here is when you're starting to understand now how the language, particularly the ECMAScript, communicates, or in this case, the environment, the platform, the web, expose now this functionality to the language so you can have access to, right? And you can see is all the different functionality that you can have access to, right? So not only in terms of the JavaScript bindings, but also is that how you can add, for example, is so for example is global variables, or how now common script behave in the web platform, right? So yeah, that's pretty much the one of the aspect of the web ID. You also have the HTTP, all right, to describe is how is this communication happens of sending hypertext, this kind of documents. HTML element is one of them, all right. XML is to describe the language of multiple type of documents. So not only HTML, but also it can be scalable vectors or the math, so mathematical documents. Unicode is this character encoding specific that allows to represent huge amount of symbols, and this symbolic mapping is made of thanks to the character encoding. So this is when you have now an internal representation of your computer in zeros and ones that is translated into a particular number, okay, 1, 2, 3, right, and that maps to a symbol. And also you have now, so, and also, let me also take a look at here at the Unicode, you know. The Unicode, I don't know if people actually look at this website, you know, it's like, this is why I'm actually doing this kind of stuff, you know. So yeah, the Unicode, technical quick start guide, support Unicode, adopt a character, membership, Uh, Official gold sponsor, Unicode Consortium, adopt a character. Adopt a character. What the French stuff is this? Adopt a character. Step 1, your character and sponsor profile. Oh. Okay. Okay. Adopt a character. So it's up to sell, bro. Choose your adoption level. Okay. You will be the sole proprietor at this level. They're gonna sell you tokens? They're gonna sell you characters, bro? Oh my god, that's laughable. Anyway, and I say that this is laughable because, well, anyway, who sponsored you? Interesting. The Unicode now is a sponsor for all of these agencies or organizations, as you like to call. So Google, Comprigo, Frances Coronel, Discourse, GP Softwares, EMP Software from SAS, Chronopoly, Danger, BitLaunch, RepLuster, Coinbase. Why not surprised that Coinbase is here? Design Google Font, Pixel Width, Digital Love Media, make a website hub. So all of this, even Vinton Cerf, the father of the internet, one of the father, Jason Jenkins, Candice, IBM, San Jose Earthquake, Adam Nombury, and R. Martin Chavez. Goldman Sachs, what the fuck? One of the board of directors. R. Martin Chavez. Goldman Sachs, bro. I didn't expect that. Why I can't see that? It's like so there's some elements render that. What in the French toast? Anyway, I don't have time. But even the Goldman Sachs, is a sponsor. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this kind of exploration. I'm doing this kind of exploration, man. I'm doing this kind of exploration. Faisal, even Monzo, Happy.com, Adworthy, Tom7. This is the gold sponsor, and then you have no silver sponsor. True Friend, RentHub, RevOps, Potato, Will Grannis, Lobsters. And well, you get the idea, right? And Bronson sponsors here. Piggy Glow, and they don't actually put any comment here. Even in the Bitcoin space, Bitcoin now, Debian people, and so on and so forth, Interesting. Facebook even here. Tolos Love, Lisa Youth. That's so we're getting deep into this rabbit hole. This content is available right now. Okay. Did I put the URL right? Oh, no. What about now? Okay. Digital creator and stuff like that, right? Okay, that's lovely. So even Monzo, right? Yeah. Okay, there is a ton. There is a lot. Oh my god, there is a lot of money invest here to make this look like beautiful, you know. Monson, Starling, Nationwide, Chase. So okay, but you're starting to see why this is relevant, you know. So it is not about only developing application; it's for who you are developing those apps, and where you are receiving these funds, and what is the expected outcome that they want from you. So that was a very very good overview of all of this topic, just by describing is where is this? Sorry about that. So just to describe is the HTML spec, how that is related to these working groups, and who is right now actually oversees is not only the web ideal, but for example is the Unicode, the HTML, which is the working is the web hypertext, and I want to emphasize that the hypertext, because that's what it is at the end of the day. Okay, the hypertext. Oh my God, we are so fun. Yeah, it doesn't describe that. Okay, no problem. But it's this, right? And who oversees that, which is this. So Web Hypertext Applications Technology Working Group, which is made of people from Mozilla, Apple, Opera, as well as other major browsers. Okay, so in 2019 they actually signed now a document, which is you can read about on here, that say, hey, let's going to collaborate on a single version of HTML going forward. There was a lot of push and back stuff like that until they say, hey, you know what? No. We need to centralize all of our efforts and move towards that. So, so this is it, right? For the prologue or for the forward here, right? So this is what the ISO the ISO 1975-1 refers to, is to this particular language to query data. Okay, so that's interesting. And if I continue to read about that, is the GTC one who oversees that. So this 6th edition cancels and replaces the 5th edition, which has been technically revised. It also incorporates the technical corrigendum. Okay, and the main changes are as follows: addition and refinement of the terms and concepts to support new data types required by incremental parts, clarification and correction of the merge instruction for technical corrigenda. Interesting. And incremental parts improve the presentation and accuracy of the summaries of implementations defined and implementation depending aspect of this document. Introduction of several digital artifacts and alignment with updated ISO house styles and other guidelines for creating standards. The 6th edition of ISO IEC 1975-1 is designed to be used in conjunction with the following edition. So is all of this, right? A list of all part of the ISO IEC 1975 series can be found on ISO IEC website. Any feedback or questions should of this document should be directed to the user national standard body. So if you have any questions, go through this bureaucratic place. ISO and IEC, right? Got it. So this is it. So this is the introduction. The organization of this document is as follows. You have the scope, define the scope of this document, normative reference, terms and definitions, concepts, part of the ISO 1970 series, as well as the concepts, notation and conventions using other part of this, annexes to the part of the ISO IEC 1970 series, status codes define values that identify the status of an execution of SQL statement and the mechanism by which those values are returned. Clause 9 conformance specify requirements to apply to claims conformance, all of the sort of part of this. Annex A, SQL conformance summary, implementations define elements, and some of the annex, right? The annex here. And it's interesting because it is defined as a contract here, the clause, you know, or as a law here. Hey, you have several clauses here. Annex A, SQL conform summary, implementations define elements, implementations depending element, SQL optional feature taxonomy, deprecated features, incompatibility with ISO IEC 1975, 2006, Annex G, defect reports not addressed in these editions of this document, Annex H, maintenance and interpretation of SQL, and Annex I, support the use of internal document links in here. So again, I don't intend to memorize all of this. It's just to understand is the the forewords, as well as the introductions of this document here, right? And it makes a ton of sense. So scopes, normalities, okay. What about the scope, right? This document describes the conceptual framework using other parts series to specify the grammar of SQL and the result processing statement in that language by SQL implementation. This document also defines terms and notations used in the other part of the ISO IEC 1975 series, right? And then the normative reference, okay, makes so you can take a look at that. The following documents are referred to in the text in such a way that some or all of their content constitute requirements of this document. You have all of okay, so all the normative reference. Got it. Okay, cool. Well, terms and definitions, exactly. So ISO and IEC maintains a database for use in standardization of the following address: Electro-pedia and the ISO. OBP, online browsing platform, and Electro-pedia. Oh, holy moly. The words online's electro-technical vocabulary. God damn. Okay. The word experts in electro-technical terminology works to produce Electro-pedia under the responsibility of IEC technical commit, this one. So you have mathematic general concepts about linear algebra, mathematic functions, quantitative unit, physics and electrotechnology, electrochemicals, circuit theory, polyphase, electrical magneticals, telecontrol, nuclear instrumentations, transductor, power capacity, time relays, measuring relays, power station protection, electric cables, nano-enabled electrotechnical products, microelectrotechnical systems. Holy moly, bro. Generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. This is general. This is generation, power system planning and management, generation, transmission, of distribution of electricity, substations, operations, organization, market of electricity, electrical energy storage systems, life work, tariff for electricity, generation, transmission, and distribution of electrical energy, telecommunications, channel and networks, oscillation, transmissions, radio wave propagation, antennas, radio communications, switching and signaling communications, telecommunication networks, telegraphy, broadcasting, internet of computer network technology. This is where it all fits here. Internet of Things, acoustic and electroacoustic, ultrasonic, recording, reproduction of audio and video, electric traction, superconductivity, electrical installation, smart cities, lighting, electric welding, accessibility, radiology, electrobiology, standardizations, conformity risk assessment, and environment standardization for electrical and electronic product and system. Okay, this is my bad. Electro technical vocabulary, bro. This is on the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity here. So if you go down the rabbit hole, you got it. This. Oh, it's like describing as a concept here. Electricity supply system, electricity power network. Holy moly, bro. Holy hell. Power station, substation. High voltage DC. Okay. Ah, that's interesting. I know that goes beyond today's video, way beyond of today's video, but way beyond of today's video. Data communication, a form of telecommunication intended for transfer of information between data processing. Okay. Exactly. That is the Electro-wiki, bro. Network. Network managers, applications, computer conference, bulletin boards, digi, forums, white papers here, navigations, registration, security, internet terms, internet applications. Okay. Miscellaneous, network etiquette, cybernaut, and virtual office, push technology. Technique using the internet to deliver information to the actual request of a user. Pull technology. Okay. And push technology. Technique using the internet to deliver information automatically and repeatedly on a formal request of a user as soon as the data meeting user specification criteria and available. Dog. Holy moly, bro. Safety and risk reduction. Safe publication and safety functions. Hot surface and equipment. Safety requirement for information technology equipment here. Material flammable classes. And the other is environment standardization for electrical and electronic product systems. Term related to power management, mode on, and disjoining of it. Okay, that's quite revealing, by the way, you know. Okay. But again, it's this. Okay, two interesting things in today's video about the technology for the generation of electricity the network computer concepts, okay, for basic stuff, by the way, and so risk assets assessment. Okay, good. So yeah, that'll be all for the video. Take care. Bye bye.